This year, we have a new bully. Basically, I cannot impress upon you how much work has gone into these singles. I am kind of sad that I didn't succeed. I wanted to show you how I cool down my chickens and my chicks when it's such a hot day. But today we are doing dye stuff. I have picked about half a pot of mint. I have determined the source of the majority of the drama in the communications between the older chickens and the chicks. When last year it was Clara who had been the biggest bully against the new chicks that I got last year, then this year we have a new bully. And that new bully is Lena, the little gray one. At first I found this surprising because there isn't really that much that Lena and Clara have in common because they are chicks from different years. Clara is a chick that I got on my first year of chicken keeping, and Lena is from the second year. And then I realized that both Clara and Lena were the underdogs of their year. So I'm calling this the issue of the underdog issue. Because at first, like last year, when I had only a couple new chicks, then I had then Clara was the biggest bully against those chicks, and that is because in her year she was the one who was bullied the most. She was like at the very bottom of the pecking order, and she had like nowhere to direct that disappointment, anger, feelings. And so once the new chicks came along, suddenly she wasn't anymore at the bottom of the pecking order because there were chicks who were weaker than her, which in her little dinosaur brain meant, yes, new victims to bully in turn as I was bullied. So it's like, and because Lena was also the underdog of her year, it's just this cycle that keeps repeating because now Lena is the one who is bullying the new chicks the most. And it is like, it's not really an issue that I can do anything about because they just need to learn how to coexist. The chicks have learned that they should stay away from Lena, and I think this might be a part of the reason why the chicks are not going on the roosting bar on their own at night, because I think that they might be just afraid of Lena so much that they stay on the ground. But also, like another thing that might be like playing into that is that in the evenings, when the adults are already going inside to onto the roosting bars, that is the time when the chicks have the bravery to come outside to the run because they don't want to go there during the daytime because that's where the adults are. So they run around in the run in the evening, and then when they go back inside, it might be too dark for them to actually see how to get onto the roosting bar. So I think it's like two things, but that just means that every single night I keep picking them up and putting them on the roosting bar, which is cute, but still. They should learn that that is the place where to sleep, not on the ground. Good evening. It has been an absolutely scorching hot day. It's like the weather forecast said that it was like 27 degrees at maximum, but like I like I think it was closer to 30 because it was so hot today. I gave the chickens plenty of ice water, so don't you worry. They were nicely cooling with the ice water drinks. But I was really struggling. I just like with the antidepressants and the long COVID, it just my heat tolerance is just so bad. So I just have spent the majority of the day indoors where I have air conditioning like an American. But what I wanted to tell you about is that I am starting finally the last bird's nest of this entire spin. Like, I am so close to being done with this incredibly tedious spin that is the like really thin thin singles that are needed for the 3-ply sock yarn. And I like I'm definitely thinking that whenever like I am happy to be done with this spin, but like I do still enjoy spinning, like that is not something that has gone away, but just I am like I am thinking that I made a mistake when I started this spin, and that was making too many birds nests, and thinking that I should start like do every single bobbin and like spin an entire bobbin full of singles for for every ply, and that has just been like an extreme amount of uh, yardage meterage to spin singles of. So I think that the next time that I spin something this fine and like sock yarn, especially that's something that's more than 2-ply, that I have to spin like several bobbins of, more than 2 bobbins of, I mean, then I'm going to spin smaller quantities so that I can just trick my brain into the dopamine of finishing a bobbin or finishing the like wool that's meant to supply 1 bobbin, and finishing that earlier than the exorbitant amount of time that it takes to fill up an entire bobbin with this extremely fine single ply. Because my goodness, I have been spinning this for 4 days, this single bobbin full of single ply. It has been going for 4 days, and I haven't spun like small amounts each day. I have spun several hours each day, and it's still taken me so long just to do this. Now I don't know if I'm going to ply today, but I am very much excited to get plying, because once I do start plying, I'm going to get like the first of all, plying takes much less time than spinning the singles, and then once I have just one skein of the actual 3-ply sock yarn, then I can get to mordanting and like the preparations for dyeing some yarn with peppermint, because I am really interested to try out what I read on the internet, which is that by dyeing with peppermint and adding a little bit of iron water, you could get a sage green color. So I really want that sage green yarn, and I'm hoping to make one skein of sage green sock yarn as well. Although I'm hoping to get some like white speckles in it as well by leaving just a tiny amount of yarn out. I'll show you what I mean once I start dyeing it. And I'm done. The 3 single plies of really, really, really fine yarn have been spun. And I'm definitely going to ply the first yarn today, because I can't wait to find out how thick it is. And also this, oh my goodness, things are falling. Also this last bird's nest was the only one, the spinning of which I actually timed, and it took me 40 minutes for just one bird's nest, which tracks because I don't know, I don't actually remember how many bird's nests I like ended up having per like bobbin, but it was at least 10. So it took me a minimum, wait, 40 minutes times 10 is a lot. Like, yeah. But I think it was more than 10. Like, it seemed like more. Because like I started out with this entire basket that was just like smushed full of bird's nests, with several that did not fit in there. So I basically I cannot impress upon you how much work has gone into these singles. And I am looking forward to spinning my regular old thick carded sweater yarn just as a relaxing treat. But first, we ply. So it is actually past my bedtime, but I really wanted to get the first skein of this plied because I like my soul needs the statistics. And turns out, I mean, in addition to possibly being ever so slightly overspun while when I applied it, I'm hoping that it will balance out once it's probably properly finished off and wetted and everything. But turns out that this is pretty much it's not exactly the thickness that I wanted it to be, which like should be fine because like aiming for a very specific grist is incredibly complicated and and difficult, especially since I'm just gauging the thickness of things by hand. So the yarn that I was aiming for to replicate the thickness of is Drops Fable, which is roughly 400 meters per 100 grams, which makes it which makes it the finest type of what was it? What's the one that's finer than DK? Fingering. Which makes it the finest type of fingering weight yarn. However, what I spun is 255 meters per 100 grams, which is exactly on the thickest that a fingering weight yarn can be. So while it does fall into the same category of yarn, it is not perfectly what I wanted it to be, and because it's past my bedtime, I am not likely not thinking very rationally about this, but because of that I am kind of sad that I didn't succeed in like reaching my goal thickness, and I still, even after all this effort, spun this too thick. Just a little bit too thick, but still, it's not perfect. I wanted it to be perfect. But it's still a lot, but it's still like perfectly good quality yarn, and like good quality yarn to make into socks because of the way that it's been prepared. Because I spun this from so yeah, I think I'm just going to shower and go to bed and think about this tomorrow and apply some more tomorrow as well. Today is another very hot day, and the chickens, especially the little chicks, are struggling. They're doing fine right now because they're like outside on their walk and like in the shade, and they have like, a little bit. And today we have a little bit of wind going, which cools down the air a little bit. I mean, for me at least. I don't know how well that works when you have feathers on, but like they're not having the best of times. So I wanted to show you how I cool down my chickens and my chicks when it's such a hot day. And of course, because the chicks are still afraid of the adult chickens and are staying inside, which is making them even hotter, I have to do double of everything. So what I usually do is I create this sort of open water container for both the chickies, both the adult chickens and the chickies, that contains just water that's straight from the well, which is like the coldest water that I can get, with a lot of ice in there. And then periodically I sprinkle in there more ice and also a fair amount of sunflower seeds to sort of encourage them to dip their beaks into the water, so that when they get the sunflower seeds, they also drink some of the water and hopefully cool down from that a little bit. So this little tray will stay outside with the adults. Actually, it's a bit dirty, so I'm gonna whack this out. Fill this up. Add some ice. Yeah, and then we add some treats. Yeah, you know what's up. Cool down, girls. And for the chicks, I will make a similar one, but I will also add in a rock that's been sitting in cold water for a while, so that the chicks can stand on it. I've seen them do it yesterday, so maybe they actually are smart enough to realize that standing on a cool rock can cool them down. Okay, and ice for them as well. But unfortunately, I can't put any treats in the chickies one because the adults will find it and eat it. So I don't want those guys to get double the treats, because that's not fair. So I'll put this inside for the chickies. And honestly, I might just... So now I'm gonna go inside where it's colder, so that I can feel slightly less sick, because I feel a little bit sick because it is very hot. I might just dunk some well water on myself, because like, I am not built for the heat. Like, this is just not an ideal climate for me, but unfortunately it doesn't last very long here. Good afternoon. It is Sunday. It is still quite warm. And I've been working on the garden a little bit, way less than my mom, though. My mom is helping me out loads with all the weeds, which is great. But it is making me a little bit sad, because it's making me feel that I am not good enough for not keeping the garden in pristine shape. But that is something to discuss with the therapist. But today we are doing dye stuff. I have picked about half a pot of mint, and I am currently mordanting a whole, like 3 skeins of yarn that I'm going to be dyeing today. And we're going to be dyeing with mint today. And we are hoping to get a sage green color, but that is going to happen after I've added some iron water in here as well. So first I am going to finish mordanting the yarn, which is a boring process that I'm not going to show you. And then I'm also going to be putting some water in this pot, and I will raise the temperature to about 80 to 90 degrees and keep it there for, I'm thinking 2 hours maybe, to like get the most dye out of the mint. And it will likely make the house smell like mint, which would be lovely. So let's get to it. And I'm actually not sure if I have enough mint, because like, I did pick a lot, but I am not in the mood to pick more. I'm just tired. Like, the heat is not for me. Although it is colder, it's like 23 degrees today, not 26. But still, it is very damp, and I'm not a fan. Like, I enjoy the warm weather when I can just lie about and do nothing, but when I want to do things, then it is too hot. Then I get very overheated, and I just don't like it. It feels disgusting. I want to feel cool and cold. Oh, and also, this mint is not actually like the proper mint, it's apple mint. So I'm not sure if it's going to give the desired sage green color that I want, but like maybe it will, like maybe it's close enough to regular mint. So let's see what happens. Also, I have now created like I already 4 skeins of the sock yarn, and I think I'm going to get a 5 and maybe a little bit of a 6 as well. So I definitely went way too hard with the hand combing all the fiber, because the amount of sock yarn that I'm making is a little bit ridiculous. But I am happy with it now. Like, I have reconsidered my initial reaction of being unhappy about the fact that it's not perfectly the thickness of the drops fable yarn, and it is thicker. The drops fable is like on the lightest end of the fingering weight yarn, and what I made is on the thickest end of fingering weight. So it is the same category. It's just a little bit thicker, and my mom said that it's fine, and she has been thinking that the drops fable might be a little bit too thin for the socks that she likes to make. So I have made like the fourth one. Wait, no, one of the skeins is in the mordanting pot. Then I have 3 skeins that are ready, and the fifth skein is currently being plied. And I'm having to learn chain plying, which is so tricky. Like, oh my goodness, chain plying is so tricky. I don't know how people do it. I'm struggling so hard because it turns out that I spun one of the bobbins of singles a lot finer than all the others. So I ran out of the two, and then I have been having to chain ply the last bobbin. So we'll see what that last skein looks like. But I am like I'm so glad to see the results that are just it's just such a fine, like, it's just so fine and smooth, and it is exactly what I wanted the combed wool yarn to become. It's like exactly it's exactly what I wanted. And if I compare it to the sweater yarn that I made from the carded wool, that is completely different. It's like the carded wool gives such a more fluffy yarn compared to the combed wool, and like it's exactly the differences that I needed to have in the wool, because in the yarn, because the fluffy yarn is excellent for sweaters, but it's not so great for socks, because it, if it meets the same amount of friction, then it will break faster than the smooth yarn. So this smooth combed yarn it's excellent for socks, and it is surprisingly like how do I say, uniform in its thickness as well. I think that might be because of the plying, because the more plies you have in a yarn, the more forgiving the yarn is going to be about the variances in the thicknesses of the singles, because they will just balance out naturally. So yes, I am happy with my yarn. It's all fine. I think I'm going to be done with the plying either today or tomorrow, which means that then I will once again start making my regular sweater yarn. And I am looking forward to it. And Tour de Fleece is still going strong, and I cannot believe the amount of sock yarn that I have made. Once I have plied everything, then I will give you the full rundown of the statistics on the average thicknesses and the amount of meters that I have spun of the 3-ply yarn. It is quite breathtaking, let me tell you. But yes, today I am dyeing yarn, and while the pots simmer, I'm going to be plying as well. And just to show you, this is the amount of struggling that I am having with the chain plying. It is like, oh wait, no, wait, no, yes. I got into something of a rhythm yesterday, but it is just, I am so, it is like, this is stressful. And I am likely overspinning it. and I don't know how long each loop should be, so that is also something that I am uncertain about. But I am trying, and I am achieving it in some manner. Not a very correct one, probably. And my yarn is now properly mordanted. A super simple process, but I will tell you what it's like anyway. I just take 15 grams of alum to every 100 grams of yarn, put it in water that is roughly at 45 degrees. Then I put in the yarn, raise it to 80 to 90 degrees, keep it there for an hour, then let it cool down. And now it's going to cool down while the mint keeps on simmering, because I want it to simmer for at least an hour and a half, and then let it cool down a little bit. I'll see how much time I have when I'm about to die. I have finished plying the last skein of the super fine sock yarn that is 3-ply, and the results are in. I have spun 1.22 kilometers of 3-ply yarn that totals 386 grams of yarn. and it is pretty much evenly about 270 meters per 100 grams, which still makes it on the heavier end of the fingering weight yarn. And this is not all. Like, I have one more skein in the pot, and my goodness, seriously, next time that I want to spin really fine yarn with combed wool, make sure that I don't comb almost 400 grams of it, because I will lose my mind, because this has taken so much time and effort. I mean, I started this, when did I start this? I started spinning this on Monday last week, and it is today is Sunday, so it has taken me literally 14 days to spin like 5 skeins totaling slightly over 1 kilometer of 3-ply yarn. So actually I have spun 3 kilometers of single ply. No wonder I feel a little bit tired from spinning this. Oh my goodness. But yes, next time that I want to do really fine yarn, I have to do smaller quantities, otherwise it will be just way too grueling. And I just need to realize that I don't have to fully like fill up every single bobbin with a single ply like I did this time, because that was a lot. But now I am really happy that I'm done, and now I can do my sweater spin again, which is actually at this point probably a double sweater spin or something, because I have so much yarn that is dedicated for the sweater of many colors and a ferrule pattern. But I will see what I do with the excess yarn. We shall see. Okay, it's time to get the yarn in. I'm going to be dyeing 2 skeins of yarn that are going to be like fully the same color, like all throughout, and those are going to be the sweater yarns. So in they go. If I can separate them from the other one. Okay, yes, this is the other one. So these are just going to be plopped in with no issues. But this one, I want to be special. I want to do this thing where I keep it on a stick like this, and I only dip it into the dye like some of the way, so that it leaves like white speckles in the yarn. So I want to do this in 2 places. So I'm going to just gently squeeze out the mordant and then try to separate it. Actually, yeah, try to separate it. Come on, don't get stuck. Okay, maybe like this. So I let this part be on a stick. Oops, I'll also dip it again. And I also let the opposite part be on a stick, like this. So these will go into the pot like this, so that the dye will be up to like here. I just want like a little bit, like a small speckles of white here. So I'm going to use some yarn to tie it at the correct height, which is going to be a little bit fiddly. So this is what we have ended up with. I'm going to slowly raise the temperature of this again to 80 to 90 degrees. I'm going to periodically like move it around so that everything can get nicely saturated, except for the white bits here. And then after that, I think I'm going to leave it at the high temperature for at least an hour, maybe more. I'll see how I'm feeling. And then I will add the iron water and see what happens. Okay, I hope you'll forgive me for not filming the actual adding the iron water into the dye solution part, because my mom was in the kitchen at the same time and I don't like filming when there's people around. So I'm just going to show you what results we have, and are they amazing? Just look at this gorgeous green. Like, I am so happy with the results. We have two skeins. We have two skeins of the sweater yarn that are they're just deliciously green. And I think I added like the perfect amount of iron water to the solution, because it's not like verging on gray. It's just perfect. And like I am so happy with it. I don't know if I would call this a sage green like the internet said that I would get from dyeing with mint, but like it's a gorgeous green. It's a kind of green that I have not gotten from natural dyes before. So yes, I very much recommend dyeing with mint, even if it is apple mint and not like mint. But I do think that I didn't quite mix the solution well enough once I added the iron water, because there is some like more yellowish parts to the one of the skeins compared to this one. But like I'm okay with it, because that's like such a slight variegation that it's not going to cause any problems in my like pattern making at all. And the second yarn, that the one that I tried to make white dots on, didn't really turn out how I wanted it, and I know what mistake I made. I have these two lines going through the yarn that are like lighter, but I think that the mistake I made is that I should have likely not not even allowed them to touch the iron water while I was rinsing it out, because it has gotten kind of like pretty gray compared to the original white of the yarn. And like I'm not super happy about it, but I'm still like okay with it, because it's still like this dot of difference in the otherwise green yarn. So what happened is that the white parts of the yarn that I was keeping out of the dye solution, they got mixed up with the dye solution while I was rinsing it out, and that was enough to just make the white into gray. And it's okay. Like I'm still really happy with the yarn. It's just a different result from what I was planning. But I have learned now that if I want to preserve white, do not let iron touch it. And now I have the first that like fully like ready and prepared skein of sock yarn for my mom. And after all the dyeing and like the wetness that it has experienced, it is hanging perfectly balanced, the skein is, which I am very happy about. So now I can I can pass it on to my mom to make socks with. And so this has been the video of the week, and I have exciting plans for the next one, and I hope to see you in the next one. So hope you enjoyed this. Bye.